Thank you, Jessica. So um, I've provided Jessica with a PowerPoint, which I'm actually just going to skim through and focus, I think, on the most relevant points as it relates to this panel topic discussion. So first of all, I'm the COO of a company called CanArctic Inuit Networks, and we are planning to build a 3,000 kilometer subsea fiber optic cable from Newfoundland and Nunatsiavut to Iqaluit under phase 1, and then all the way up to the high Arctic under phase 2, and looking at linking to KRGs, which is Kativik Regional Government's subsea cable that they're building called OPHONE in the eastern portion of the Hudson Bay and just around the tip of northern Quebec. So what's important about, next slide, I'm just going to see if I can find very briefly, I think most people on this call understand the value and the need for telecommunications infrastructure, in particular in the Nunavut or in the Arctic, where for the most part, many of our communities are connected by satellite. It's not reliable, it's not stable, it's not secure as much as it could be, and that it is very, very expensive, and it's got low latency, so it often drops. And therefore it causes great concern. I know that in an earlier panel, someone referred to how important it is to ensure our communities and our regions are properly, connected and have good telecommunications. So the interesting thing about also Sedna Link is the opportunity to make this a smart cable. SMART stands for the acronym of Science, Monitoring, and Reliable Telecommunications. How does it fiber cable, be a smart cable? Well, it's by adding sensors, marine sensors, onto the cable. And those sensors can do everything from monitoring salinity, currents, pressure, as well as with hydrophones, monitor sound within the marine environment, such as whales or what's on top of the water, which could be ships. And as a result, it can also help get that important environmental data. Monitor climate change. It can help support ocean protections around the areas where, especially northern regions, Inuit and Canada have decided, they want to reduce the amount of negative environmental impacts, usually on the basis of around where there's sensitive marine life, like whales, whale sanctuaries, migration routes, calving areas, and such like. The other thing too, I'm just going to ask for the next slide. There's the map that sort of gives you a sense of at least where, the route would be. And if you extend the cable, you would go all the way up on the east coast at Baffin Island, connecting the communities along the way. So that would also be Pangertung, Kikitarjuak, Clyde River, Pond Inlet, and in and around to Arctic Bay. There is the proposed, or eventually the port that to reuse the Nanisivik port, as well as, of course, the port at Baffinland. So the other thing too is that's really important to Inuit is ensuring that these increased amount of ships that are coming through our regions do not interfere with or harm the marine environment, including the whales that are migrating through. So it is possible for the smart cables to actually notify the ship's captains when the whales are, where the whales actually are in real time. And then that allows them to do either thing, which is to slow down the vessel or adjust their routes so that that there is the real possibility of reducing and preventing whale strikes, which is of course incredibly important. And with climate change, some of the workshops that I've just participated in with Polar Knowledge, a number of the communities are noting that the whale migration timing is changing. And also to some extent, some of the migration routes, are being affected because of the ships in and around, because of Baffinland ships. Clyde River in particular said that they're seeing a lot less whales, and Arctic Bay is seeing more whales. So the smart cable is one of the important pieces of Arctic infrastructure, because it can provide baseline data where baseline data doesn't exist. Another concern which Greenland has experienced not that long ago was a tsunami. I know when I spoke to the members of the HTO at Clyde River, they're equally concerned about the possibility of tsunamis. And therefore, this cable, smart cable with those sensors, can also detect those earthquakes that are happening on the seabed floor and provide those communities, early warning systems. And it can also provide early warning systems to ships. So the military, we've also, had discussions with, have spoken about the need for what they call is all domain awareness. They want not just information about what they're able to garner from, above the marine environment, which is predominantly by satellite. They also want to get information, of course, of what's happening in the marine environment. And effectively, the smart cable allows, at least where it's laid, to connect seabed to space. Inuit are marine people. And so the fact of having an Inuit-led, Nunavut-based company undertake this project actually, really facilitates and supports Inuit involvement, not just through improved communications and all the spin-offs that happen with that, for developing new businesses or expanding businesses with improved communications, but it also helps support effectively the development of a blue economy. Those sensors need to be regularly and annually maintained with underwater vehicles or human occupied vehicles. So it's possible to train Inuit and our local people in our northern communities, these really good technical skills, to provide, that data on a consistent basis, which is good for our communities, which is good for the shipping community that's going through our waters. It's good for military and sovereignty and security purposes. And so it's a really exciting opportunity. And how it also relates to smart ports is in order to be able to have, the best communications at a port, you can have everything from effectively, cameras in the area that monitor and surveillance, the sensitive, areas where stuff is being unloaded. You can put sensors on the equipment that's unloading the cargo. Here in Nakalawit, we have a deep sea port that is under construction. It's both a commercial port, and right next to it is also our community and personal sort of boat area. And so there's actually going to be at certain times the potential for problems between sort of when the commercial boat is unloading or loading and when people actually want to get their own, personal boats into the water. So the fact of actually having fiber optic cable and all the sort of the different surveillance and automation aspects is, just allows for better port management and reduces, potential problems for safety issues and or improve safety issues is what I should actually say, and monitoring and security of that port site. So it's a really exciting project, and as we sort of have these conversations, even with today, just how important communications and fiber communications is in being able to realize all that this technology offers, is tremendous, and that's why we're really, really excited. Thank you. The PowerPoint is there for people to if they, I didn't want to go through it slide by slide because I wanted to sort of make sure that I focused on the topic at hand, but the information more about, the actual fiber optic project, some information about the smart cable is there for anyone who would like to, learn more about it. Thank you.